Hello, World of Tank Blizzards, it's Littlefinger. Hey, finally back at it with another full tank review. Today, we are looking at the P44 Pantera. You can see it here in the garage. This is an Italian Tier 8 medium tank. Sits in the European nation filter there. Unique auto-loading system that we'll get into. Outside of that, I'm not going to have too much positive to say about this tank. And we'll get into why here just in a bit. But you've come from the P43 Tur here, and I just want you to see the difference in size of these two tanks. You are getting into a much bigger, obviously that makes you more of a target. And then obviously when we go up to the Tier 9 Standard B, we're getting back into a smaller profile tank. So keep that in mind as you're running this tank, because the armor on it is not great, and while it's the fastest tank for mobility straight line, it's not when it comes to turret rotations and all of those things that you need to defend yourself as a tank. But first, let's look at my general setup here on consumables. Replace the adrenaline there with engine power boost. Provisions, I'm running the top 3: Cheesehead, Protective Kit, and Improved Fuel. Ammunition, 35, 16, and 9. Make sure you're buying that premium there with credits. And then equipment, running Improved Vents, Defense System, Improved Optics, Enhanced Gun Lane Drive, Enhanced Armor. I could make a strong argument for leaving it with Improved Assembly here. 85 additional hit points. It's not a lot one way or the other there. Engine accelerator and refined gun, and then not spending the credits on the last two. So let's talk about this unique autoloader. You can see here at the stats, 6.73 seconds for that first shell to load. The second shell loads at 3.59, and then 3.14 for the third shell. Once you're fully loaded, the 3.0 there that is indicated with the red will show you that it's going to take you 3 seconds to be ready to fire that second shell, and another 3 seconds to unload the third shell. And then the numbers in white show you how long it takes to load. That's the first one, 6.7. The next one should be 3.5, and then 3.14. And so there's always a 3-second reload time in between each one of those shells. That's why really to get the best DPM out of this gun is to just live off of that third shell. But it gives you the unique feature to be in game and to be firing at will with a full clip. Alright guys, blitzhanger.com. We've got the P44 Pantera pulled up, and I'm using this website just because I think it's a little bit easier to show the soft stats on the tank. And you can see we've got the provisions, but no equipment. DPM, we're sitting right up there, number 5 out of 23 tanks. So in that regard, it looks to be a good tank. Your pen numbers are okay. They're not great. They're not horrible either. Certainly workable. Shell velocity is very nice. And then when we get down here into the gun handling, you'll see your aim time is pretty good. 9 out of 23. Dispersion's pretty good. These dispersion factors when moving are excellent, but really that doesn't come into play too much. Our gun depression is 8 degrees, elevation 20 degrees, but here we start getting into the issues. Turret traverse speed, 38 degrees. That's 22 out of 23. So it's the next to last tank in turret traverse speed. Add that on to the mobility traverse speeds, you're turning, and you'll see then you're back in the middle of the pack. So this is not an agile mobile tank that you can use really to brawl face to face, in my opinion. And so that's kind of what I wanted to get across there, is it's a difficult tank on one-on-one situations. So to start gameplay, I wanted to show you this. I had gone to A. You can see I'm reloading a full clip. I dished out as much damage as I took, about 1,300 damage. Cruel Twist is coming at me. We get this first shot into him. He tracks him. He misses his shot. And now what? We can reload faster than he can get his second shot off. So yeah, right at 2,000 damage. Benefits to that autoloader. All right, so we're going to roll on into the first game here on Canyon, and I am top tier. And so as a medium, I feel it is as part of my duty to try to spot up as many of the enemy reds as possible. Now, to do that, a lot of times, and especially on a map like Canyon, the best thing to do is go to the middle of the map. And it's quite a pivotal place. And you can do a lot of damage, and you can do a good bit of spotting here. So we're going to load up 3 shells into the clip there so you can see. It's going to be 3 seconds for my first shot to reload. And there's a WZ and another Pantera. So we've got 2 spotted up already. And we're just going to take it a little bit cautiously and see if we see anyone else. We've got a new one there, looks like the T49. There's our 8 degrees of gun depression, able just to get over the ridgeline. And this is just a dumb move on my part. This is what not to do, guys. Pulled all the way back sideways and took that shot. So again, I'm trying to use that little bit of curve in the hill right there to help with my gun depression, and we get one more shot into the Pantera. And you can see as we're doing so, we are reloading. It's now quite obvious they've got tanks on either side of the hill, and I'm going to use this tank speed to my advantage now. We've done our job spotting. Most of the other team is lit up. And yeah, this tank has 60 kilometers per hour as a top speed, so it can get to different locations on the battlefield. Add in the fact that it's got one of the highest velocity shells, it does actually snipe pretty well. You'll also find that from a distance your armor is a lot more effective than being up close. So as we're coming around here, we're going to notice this T49. Get our first shot into him here. And look at that. We get one into the tracks, and we're able to block it. Now that LTTB, that was a tough shot. And that's the nice thing, I think, about this active reload. Because right now I'd probably be sitting here with one clip saying I don't really have any targets, so let's go ahead and do a full, whatever it is, 20-second reload and get all 3 shells back in the clip. But we don't have to do that with this system. We can take our shot when we need to, and it automatically starts to reload. You're going to have a little bit of trouble with these heavy tanks and your ability to penetrate. You're going to see it here first on the VK, and then we're going to come up on the Object 252U. So as long as we can use our speed and stay perpendicular, not a problem. Want to stay in front of this T49 as much as possible, and I think he goes too far up the hill. Couldn't get a shot in, so we just take some splash damage there. Now we're reloading. We've got 1 tank left, 3-on-1, and I'm really not sure where he is. Alright, so now he is spotted. You can see here, it's good mobility. Now he is going around for that T-34 85 Rudy. Should be looking down on him, should make this a little bit easier to penetrate. And we get that first one in with APCR. Second one in, and third one in. So now I'm backing up and doing a reload. And look at that, we bounced that one. So you can see here, this is what it's like just to shoot 1 shell at a time. Now what I'm doing here is I'm waiting until my second and hopefully my third by the time I get over here. So I'm going to switch over to AP, but look how slow this turret traverse is. And then I hit the spaced armor. I want to be aiming down here below, closer to the tracks so that I don't have to go through that spaced armor. So thought that was a good shot there on the side of these IS object tanks with really good spaced armor, and how to penetrate them with just regular AP. So again, they're 2,400 damage, all over the map, and an active, fun game. So we're going to drop on over here to Rockfield as our second battle. And my feelings on this tank are kind of mediocre. I do like the fact that it's got a nice top speed, but yet it is still really sluggish on turning, especially that turret rotation speed is really bad. And as we're getting started here, I notice everyone's going to A, so I'm going to go ahead and go on up there myself and stick with the heavies. It's not my favorite playstyle as far as tanks go. I prefer something more like a T-54 lightweight or something more in those lines that's going to be nimble, agile, a little bit better at the peekaboom type style play style. They've gone to C, so I'm going to take a risk here, jump on across and get into cap. Really not the best way to come in here, because oftentimes you'll get somebody that, see there, we see some rocks flying. So someone took a shot in here, and now I'm struggling to get out before getting spotted and hit up the butt. So yeah, try coming in on the other direction with your armor facing towards C. Would be a lot wiser of a maneuver. But you can see they've been aggressive. Several of their tanks here are going to pop around on the other side of the map, and I apologize for not having the mini map open. I guess that's my fault on the replay. But I do like this tank from a sniping perspective. The really high shell velocity, its accuracy with the gun does allow for some good sniping, in my opinion. So you can see here, I'm just going to unload this full clip. That one did not hit the rocks. That one might have hit the rocks. But, we can then pull back here to safety while we complete our reload. Aiming for the side of the turret cheeks there. And I was just making sure if we got spotted, we did. So we need to be careful and just do a peekaboom there. Thankfully, they're all in front of us, and the minimap really probably isn't too much help at this point in time. But you can see here, we're going to get at least one of these shots to go in. All from the safety of our little bunker here. So, obviously one of the things I preach a good bit is conserving hit points, and that's what I'm trying to do. And we can make our decision to push at a time that looks right in the game. So you've got 3 tanks at least down there with very low health. So I'm thinking I can get in here and help put some of these away. Time to move on in. 4 tanks left. And you can see what difficulty it is with an IS-5 here. Aiming for the bottom lower plate, we get the tracks. The first one, second one goes in, but look at all that red. No point even shooting. T-43s over here. We've got 2 shots loaded. Switch back to AP. First shot, second shot. So there's your benefit to this auto-loading system. We're going to come in here. By the time we get up to the IS-5, we are going to have 2 shots loaded. And so you can see here how quickly we can then turn and get that ISU. So that's quite nice. in some regards, to have this unique auto-loading system. If you can, you know, learn to use it to your advantage. The downside to this auto-loading system is when you get into a brawling situation and you've depleted your clip and you only have, you know, you're waiting for that one shell to load, because obviously that is the longest shell of the three. So what I'm saying about, you know, learning how to make this loading system work for you is you can be a little bit more aggressive, I think, than in the standard auto loading systems where you have to wait for all the shells to reload and you have to actively manage when you reload. You know, you can be a little bit more aggressive in this because you're constantly reloading, but that's not to say that you know, you can get yourself into trouble as well. So here we are up against a T54 tier 9, and you know, we're just going to struggle to pen. I mean, that's a lot of red. So I go ahead and take a shot on fellow cruel clan member there in the M4A1 Riverwalk. And I know that tank does a lot of damage. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a healthy respect, a little bit of distance. Want to get in here and get a shot on the Hornet, but obviously it's pretty crowded in here. So finally make our way in and we'll get the kill shot. So you do avoid a really lengthy reload, but then again, each one of these shells is not as fast as say a T69 unloading a clip on it. So that is your downside. But now we find ourselves in a situation where we've got some distance, and you know, we can use this tank as a sniper, and that's really the role I think this tank does well in. We've mentioned it before, high rate of shell velocity. You can see here the Waffentrager is actually moving backwards, and I'm aimed middle of the tank and still able to hit it. I'm getting a little bit too close to the M4A1, so I'm gets spotted by proximity there. We've got some big tanks lurking around. E75, got T30 here to my left, and a T34. So we'll get one into him. That one unfortunately bounces. And look at that, we take a huge bounce. Must have been from the T30. I didn't really talk too much about the armor on this tank, but you can see by this graphic the P44, the tier 8 next to the tier 7 P43, and you can actually see we're giving up hull armor here. 100 mil on the tier 7 versus 80 on the tier 8. We do gain a little bit there on the turret, 120 versus 100, and 60 on the sides and back versus 50. So you can see why that is just a bit of a challenge when it comes to brawling one-on-one. And then you throw in stuff like this where it can't even make up, get up a hill here, which is usually pretty traversable by medium tanks. And so we're closing in on the end of this game, and so I'm just going to go for it here and fail miserably. So coming around, no, he's got to be down here. I'm thinking probably in the water, so I am looking in the wrong spot. He's above me. Faster turret traverse, and yeah, dead tank me. So good game, Whiskey Cell there. But we do finish this one off for a W, and I'm going to close out the review on the P44 Pantera as we watch this game come to a conclusion. So you've got a medium tank with good front speed of 60 kilometers per hour, but it's lacking turret traverse and just general traverse speed. So it does make it difficult to brawl one-on-one. It's got great velocity, good shell velocity. It's got a good aim time, so it does serve well as a sniper. And then obviously the unique autoloader makes it a different tank, which we all like something a little different. So, however, to me it was just a medium tank, nothing great. I'm not going to pull this one out and say, oh, I've got to play this tank. That's just not what it is. So with that, we're going to jump into the tier 9 and start playing it. I've heard some great things, looking forward to it. Hopefully I've shown a few tips on how you can play this tank a little bit better. But for that, we are going to close on out here, guys. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button. 10K on our way. And have fun out there. Stay safe, get educated. Not fingered. A Littlefinger out.